The following video contains images taken from the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, which is property of Bethesda Softworks. All rights go to their respective owners. I am but a humble reviewer. Hey guys, what's up? Andrew here, and today we are going to review one of my favorite games of all time, The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. Now, when this review is done, I would have convinced you to, if you haven't already, to pick up that game. And if it's been a while since you picked up that game, to go give it another shot, because it's just that good of a game. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. The year was 2006, and I just got an Xbox 360. Now, shortly after that, I got The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. It was a Christmas morning, and boy did I fall in love with it from the very start. I always had a mind for this kind of, fantasy genre, Lord of the Rings, that kind of stuff. So being able to put myself into that kind of world was phenomenal. I instantly lost hours and, to be honest, probably years of my life invested into this game. It's that amazing. And the reason it's amazing is because you can play however you want. Within reason, of course. You can't fly around and shoot lasers out of your eyes, but you make your story, you forge your path. It's not linear. You're not, playing this guy who this happened to him and this became this, unless you chose that. That's the beauty of this game, the choice and the freedom. Now, I still play this game today, much to my friends' confusion. They don't understand why I put so much, time and love into a game that came out almost 10 years ago. But hopefully by the end of this video, you'll understand why. Now, in typical Elder Scrolls fashion, you start off this game as a nameless, faceless prisoner in max security with no backstory and a promising future. Well, it would be promising if you weren't locked up. However, on a strange night, the Emperor and his trusty bodyguards come down in an escape route to escape assassins, and that, by chance, leads through your cell. So you get to tag along, it's a get out of jail free card, and the game uses this as the character creation. So here's where you choose your name, your race, and you are just thrown into the mix. You're kind of abandoned and have to proceed on your own way to get out. And this is where you can start playing with the combat, the magic, the types of skills you can use. Because towards the end of the tutorial, you can choose your class. Now, I'll get back to the class system later on. I just wanted to set it up. But basically, the Emperor's sons are dead, and he is assassinated. And because of this, the entire realm is in danger from an invasion from a hellish realm called Oblivion. Now, it's up to you, who was once just a prisoner, to somehow stop the invasion from Oblivion and save the entire world. Now, what I just explained is the basis for Oblivion's main questline. Yet, where Oblivion differs from most traditional RPGs of that time is the main questline is the smallest portion of the game. You see, where there's the main questline, there's also several other unique factions with their own stories that you can also join. And where there are those factions, there are also an abundance of quests you can find just by exploring. So really, there's so much you can do in any order you please, and the game really rewards you for thinking outside the box and going to explore. But besides just the quests, exploration is its own quest, if you ask me, because there's nothing more rewarding, nothing more fun than just looking on the horizon, picking a spot mentally, walking over to it. Maybe you find a cave, fight some bandits, get some treasure. To me, that's my own adventure that wasn't scripted by the game writers. And that's, to be honest, when I have my most fun playing Oblivion. Now let's take a minute to talk about the gameplay real quick. Now, Oblivion is very, very user-friendly. You see, the game levels with you, so at level 1, you're not going to be worrying about some big baddie coming and one-hitting you. For the most part, it's going to be pretty safe at level 1. Yet as you progress, the game will start adding new enemies to it. Yet those older enemies that you can now plow through easily will still exist, which I personally find very rewarding. Yet the only downside to this is, as you get to a very, very high level, they stop adding new creatures, which is understandable. Yet, instead of making you feel overpowered by, this is all the work I put into this game, I'm going to wreck anybody, they just add insanely high HP bars, which can get kind of annoying. However, this isn't a problem until later on in the game, and it is a pretty minor problem. Now, also, if we're talking about difficulty, you can adjust the difficulty slider, similar to if you've played Skyrim or other games of that genre. There's a difficulty slider which can be adjusted at any time, even in combat, so never worry about having not enough challenge or too much challenge. And also, speaking of Skyrim, this game has much less coddling than Skyrim. I know that was one of the biggest complaints people had with Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, is that they're holding your hand too much. Now, if we look at the three main Elder Scrolls games, Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim, where Morrowind pretty much says, okay, have fun, see you later, and Skyrim's like, alright honey, hold my hand, hold mommy's hand. Oblivion is pretty much the middle ground, where yes, there's going to be someone there if you need it, yet you can pretty much stand on your own, which is very good. Now, a couple other features real quick in gameplay is there's a class system, which is not in Skyrim. See, the class system gives you major skills which you pick at the end of the tutorial of the game, yet you can still use the minor skills, they just won't contribute to your leveling up. And you can make your own class, or you can pick a custom class, which I personally recommend because it lets you truly do you. And you can fast travel, hotkey, set map markers, buy a house. There's plenty you can do gameplay wise, which truly makes you feel that you live in this world of Tamriel. Now, if there's one thing you can be absolutely certain of in Oblivion, it's that combat is a huge role. Now, a moment ago I talked about major and minor classes. Now that gives you the freedom to decide to fight any which way you want. You could be an orc mage, you could be a wood elf berserker, anything, really, the sky's the limit. Just because a race isn't naturally suited for a task doesn't mean you can't become the best you can be. That's the beauty of Oblivion. Everything ties back to freedom and total character customization. Now mind you, the combat is not going to be so fluid as a more contemporary game, but that's just because this game came out in 2006. Were we in 2006, I'd be singing a different tune. I'd be saying, oh, look at the combat, it's fantastic, it really feels realistic. But that's just nitpicking. Once again, when you're playing older games, you have to understand that they're older games, but that doesn't take away from the sheer epicness. Now, I really don't want to use that word, but that's the only way I can describe it, of Oblivion and the fights you're going to be having within Oblivion. Now, I just spent some time explaining to you what makes Oblivion Oblivion. Now, I'm going to explain to you why I love it so much. Why does Oblivion have such a special place in my heart? Now, besides nostalgia, the immersion is ridiculous. The lore is rich. The lore is so rich, and that's what I look for in a game. You can sit there in a library in the game and just read books on something that happened centuries ago that doesn't even be mentioned in the game. That's how rich the lore is. Also, the freedom. Absolute freedom is the best way to play a game, especially a game like Oblivion. Nothing could have been worse than if this were a linear corridor system game. Now, if I'm talking about likes, though, I'm going to have to talk about some dislikes. Now, they're just nitpicking. None of these will put you off the game, but they are noticeable. 1. You can't have a beard. Come on, you cannot have a beard? Why, Bethesda? Why? I just want to know why you guys didn't put beards in the game. Also, it can be kind of annoying when you're a super high level, like I said before, and you're just fighting, steroid injected HP bar enemies without any real challenge besides their HP. And the dialogue can get kind of choppy sometimes when it pulls you out of the action just for them to talk to you and then puts you back into it. Like I said, none of those things are going to off-put the game. This is an amazing game. You can buy the version with all the DLC for under $20, which is a steal, and I really advise you doing that, especially if you're looking for a game that will keep you busy for hours and hours on end. Now, I'm going to give this game a 9.9, which is the highest score I will ever give as a reviewer. And that's because if we ever got a 10, every game would have to live up to that game, which I don't think any game should set the standard like that. So Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion gets a 9.9. It's a beautiful masterpiece that will live on through the years, and once again, just get your hands on it, please. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, feel free to subscribe and like. Now, I do Let's Play series, and I also review games. And also, I conjunct with another YouTuber, a good friend of mine. His name is Alex, and his channel is called Game Jedi. Now, you really need to check that out, because if you think this is cool stuff, his stuff is even cooler. He has the technology. Sky's the limit with this guy. So go check that out, and have an awesome day. Bye.